you sad that Russ is needing to leave. But your mom is going to be there just in case. Yeah. Bye-bye. We had a lot of fun with Russ this morning, and now it's time for him to go to water. See, that makes you very sad, Alyssa. He's a lot of fun. And we'll see Russ later when he comes to get Amber. Would you like to do some more bubbles with us? Yeah? Which one would you like to use? Do you want to try using this one? Yeah?
Our goal is to really listen to children, and part of that listening experience goes with really understanding what children are going through. And our teachers are really skilled at being able to get in close and make those connections with children. So building connections is sort of the cornerstone of that philosophy. And so that starts early on, and that's a really big emphasis of who we are as a program.
Can you just check in with Henry and you can make sure he's okay? It sounds like it was an accident, right? So you can tell him that accidents happen, right?
Socio-emotional development is very much related to the quality of the relationship, primarily for preschool children, between the teacher and the child.
So it's looking at how our interactions with children in the classroom, what is the culture of our school? Is it a positive climate? Is it a negative climate? How do we respond to children's needs? And then what does that interaction look like? Are we getting down at the eye level of children? Are we smiling when children are talking to us? Are we providing wait time for children to respond? What's going on here?
She put the gingerbread guy into the oven and she took him back out and he walked.
No matter how young the child is, being curious means that you also will question about their behavior instead of making these one assumptions about why a child is doing something. Being curious means that you may begin to think about all the different things that are possible for why this child is showing a certain behavior.
We did it all day yesterday. We used amazing words yesterday. Would you like some help talking to Annabelle?
Understanding that when a child comes into the classroom and the child is not behaving in the way that they normally would behave, for us to begin to question and ask ourselves what is happening for this child right now.
Anissa, what's your plan? Where are you going to work? Okay, how are your big girl words going? How are they doing? Are you going to be able to work with your friends? Okay.
For us to be able to say, well, wait a minute, that is something that I need to understand and know a little bit more about, whether it means sitting and talking with the child or talking with the parent.
When I'm working with students, with teachers, with parents, starting from, okay, so when this happens, how does it feel to you? Nobody wants to be screamed in the face by somebody else, whether they're 3 or 30. On the other hand, let's understand that for a 3-year-old, it's a different process. It's happening for different reasons. So being able to connect up how you're feeling with what's going on with the child.
I think it's very important for awareness building, where teachers and students are able to learn how to reflect on what does that mean to you.
I don't like one of your friends because you hit him. See? I'm mad.
But did you understand why he said that?
Because I don't like him.
Well, because you hit his friend. So he doesn't like you because you hit his friend.
Okay. You want to walk him to the door?
送爸爸去门口 ，OK？ 送爸爸去门口。
Good morning, Greg. Good morning.
Okay.
Come here, buddy. All right. Andy. Bye.
And then when I see a child crying, is there something in my life in the past that has affected me in such a way that it makes me nervous to be around a child who is crying?
It takes many kinds of trucks to build a road.
I like
Look how big that truck is. How big that truck is. Look at that. Oh, look at all those trucks.
With Bennett, we've been trying new stuff for the last couple of weeks, and we found that reading books to him has calmed him down. Seeing other teachers, what words to use and what phrases to use to comfort the children as they come in, that's really helped me out in comforting the children on hard drop-offs and being able to be a support system for them. Working with my co-teachers this is my second year with them, and seeing them, they've been in the field for such a long time, and just seeing what words they use and getting feedback from them on how I'm doing my job.
So really trying to make the process of reflection on what shapes us and what we bring to these situations part of a daily way of being in the world, rather than something that is just specific to how do we interact with children. So it becomes part of the way we think about our practice and who we are as professionals.
I just worry that once the baby comes, then I'm not quite sure. And I think maybe that has something to do with his kind of anxiousness. And so I'm sure there's been a lot of talk of baby and, getting ready. And
I'm going to find some books
Yeah, we
about,
should get some
yeah.
books.
What we're trying to do is to build a richer, deeper understanding for all of us. And then how we can very constructively share that with other people. Because we're going to need to be able to do that in conversations with parents.
Thinking about sitting down with families and asking them, what is it that you would like to see? What is it that you want your child to experience?
To be able to say, I hear that this is what you want for your child, and I respect that, and I understand the importance of that. And so for teachers, not just thinking about their own practice and their own reaction to a child's behavior, but about how they express that, how they share that, how they work with other adults around those issues. Because they're going to have to do that with the families that they work with.
How are you doing? We're looking for Marcos. Marcos is right here. Yeah, be there. Yeah, Marcos. So let's get your hearing aids on first, okay? Just woke up at 7:30, so
Okay.
slept in late today. So
Okay.
we'll just do one nap, and then gave him about 4 ounces of milk.
Okay.
We're part of the child's life, and forming that relationship with a family is not only important for the adults involved, as important as it is, but it's important for the child to know that's there. And so evidence that a child can have of communication between teacher and parent is important. Knowing that we talk to one another, that we respect one another, that we see one another as important contributors to the child's life. That's all part of the child understanding their relationship with the teacher and with the setting that they're in.
I think you might be ready to play.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I'm ready to go.
You can use this one too.
Hey!
Yeah, try that.
Look, the red one's and the green one's the same.
What's important about socio-emotional development is that it is within the socio-emotional context that learning takes place. It is within the quality of the relationship between the parent and the child, or the teacher and the child, that learning takes place. And without a warm, positive social relationship as the fundamental or the foundation of learning, it's hard for a child to advance.
This ball is going slow. This ball is going slow. This ball is going really slow.
Do you want to try a different one?
I want to try that one.
Okay. Do you think this one's gonna work?
No. Those are not as bad ones. Those are big.
Do we need more marbles?
Yeah, but that one, this one's not fast enough.
It's not fast enough? If I'm gonna bring a different marble, do you think it's gonna work better? Okay.
And so it is within that context then that children will then approach learning in a more positive way if the socio-emotional climate is positive.
Yeah, that was fast.
To support children's social emotional development and to help them work through intense emotional situations, having an ongoing relationship with them is an important foundation to do that under. Teachers form a role in a child's life, and a teacher needs to have a defined relationship and a defined role on the basis of day-to-day care, on the basis of knowing the child in a variety of circumstances over the course of their day that they spend in a space, to whatever extent that's possible.
Please. Thank you. Alex, you still have some on your plate. Right there.
We talk about guidance and the principles of helping children with behavior and things, but all learning, whether it's about social relationships or it's about behavior or it's about numbers, is really grounded in the nature of that relationship, the ability to share leadership back and forth, to really hear and be heard.
Alex, did you need something? What do you need? Do you need to have some more? More, please? Sure.
To have that kind of reciprocity between individuals, a sense of safety and mutual respect. That fundamental relationship is the context in which everything that happens between a teacher and a child is going to occur.
¿Qué?
¿No te lo sabes en español? Azul.
Verde, amarillo.
So for a dual language learner, specifically, language is very important to make them feel comfortable. If the child is hearing their language being spoken in the classroom, if they are seeing pictures that represent their families or their culture in the classroom, that's going to present a more warm and inviting environment for the child to feel comfortable. So this safe and warm environment is fundamental to the socio-emotional development, which then in turn assists with learning.
Hey, this bird has a big beak. I saw it too. What's this bird?
That's called a flamingo.
Flamingo. Oh. Because they have long necks. A flamingo.
Flamingos have long necks, you're right.
Social emotional development is also going to be important in the classroom. If you can self-regulate your behavior, you're going to be better able to learn. You're going to hear what the teacher's saying. Classmates are going to like you more.
There we go. So Amber, it looks like Alyssa's sitting there. I have another chair over here that you can sit in. There we go. Here's a chair for Amber.
We have understanding the child in terms of what we know about typical development, but also the individual, the culture that person is in. Who is this person who's reacting this way? And then we have the understanding of many times our children do what they do because they have mistaken ideas about how to get their needs met. If I understand that as a principle, let me stop and think about what purpose this is serving for the child and what other behavior I could help this child learn that would be more effective in helping that child meet their needs.
Okay, the pushing is not going to work, okay? So you can say, Eduardo, can you please scoot over a little bit? Eduardo, please scoot over a little bit. Try to use those words. Pushing him isn't going to work.
Because fundamentally, guidance is a teaching process. It's helping children learn tools to build better relationships, to function more effectively in a variety of environments.
Go. Go back to your house.
That you're pushing Gael and telling him to go.
One of the things that many of our teachers face is that they're very challenging behaviors that they don't feel like they've been adequately prepared to deal with.
Look at his face.
Go home.
We need to be able to look at a child and say, I'm uncomfortable when you do that. It would help me if we could talk this way.
How does he?
Go home. Go home.
You know, I am going to have to say that you're using teasing words, and I don't want to hear you teasing our friends at home, at school. Because you're not being very friendly.
I want to.
You're not being very friendly with Gael.
That's hard. That takes practice. Being able to say it in a way that is firm and respectful of the child and not in a way that is punitive or angry or hostile.
You're not being very friendly with Gael.
I want to be friendly.
You want to be friendly? What's a friendly thing that you could say to Gael?
Sorry for teasing you.
You need a repertoire. You start your interaction at a certain level with a child, and you want to come in with a match to where that child is and what they're able to deal with and cope with. But you may come in low, and you don't want to go to the extreme at that point. You need to be able to step it up a little bit, a little more scaffolding, a little firmer boundary, a reiteration with a little more scaffolding, a little more guiding, a little more instruction. And so helping teachers practice those steps realistically is really important.
You could also just tell your friend, you can say, Gael, this table is for 2 friends. This table is for 2 friends.
Gael, this is for 2 friends.
Recognizing that children are learning about emotions, children are learning about how to respond to things. They're going to make mistakes. And sometimes they express things that they're not even sure or what they think or feel. And so to be receptive, to stay in the process with them, to give them that space to sort out what it is that they really think.
What happens when children don't get along, when there's a conflict or someone hurts someone in an effort to get a coveted toy? That is an opportunity for experiencing what does it mean to negotiate a solution with someone in a way that's not hurtful to someone else. The conversations around guidance and discipline then become opportunities for curriculum.
I'm a teacher.
We all go to.
Well, did you ask him to finish eating? How could you solve that problem? Maybe Aaron will share with you. Aaron is very friendly. You can ask him, can I have some of your robots?
Yeah. I do see. I knew it right now. But you got to wait. You got to wait for your turn.
Child-child relationships also are very important to the learning process.
Big help. Look at big help. Oh, no, big toenail. I got big toenail. What's that today?
Because as children grow and develop, a lot of the learning that they do with and from one another.
Good.
Forming that ability to have dialogue, to enter into an exchange, to hold one's own place in a conversation, to feel resilient. People are going to say things to you you don't like. That's the nature of community life.
But you don't work outside.
How do you deal with that? How do you feel about that?
For sure. No quieres esto. Yo no quiero este. Yo sí quiero este.
Those child-child interactions and relationships are a profound part of finding your place in the world. And it is only from that place that children can learn other things.
10 or 8?
I think sometimes people want problems to go away. And in point of fact, solving problems together is probably one of the most important ways that we can learn about one another and build relationships. And so to see problem solving not only between children, but between adults and between teachers and families, it's a very positive opportunity. I think it's an important part of the relationship building process.
Come on, babe.